The St. Lucia Social Development Fund presents Sons and Daughters of St. Lucia, the Land, the People. Today's program highlights Sir George Frederick Lawrence Charles's growth and his contribution to St. Lucia. A man of humble origins and diminutive size, a fighter for the right of St. Lucians to be the masters of their labor and their destiny. Sir George belongs to that pantheon of early Caribbean leader who organized the working class and spurred the formation of trade unions and the early political parties that sought to express the people's collective will. The St. Lucia Voice newspaper, St. Lucia Nationwide, a publication of the Department of Information Services, number 48, Saturday, July 3rd, 2004. George Frederick Lawrence Charles was born on the 7th of June 1916 in the thick of World War I. In August of that year, Ferdinand Bundy was killed in action while serving with the 28th Royal Fusiliers. By December of that year, George Beausoleil, Nelson Shadrock and Joseph Ernest returned home, all casualties of war. The next 24 years would see a steady rise in population, changes in the face of agriculture from sugar to bananas, in fact, a falling banana industry and a failing sugar industry. A History of St. Lucia describes some of the living conditions as follows. In Castries, carriers of night soil disposed of raw sewage at sea, while in some of the villages, public latrines were erected over the sea. By 1945, the Second World War was ending and Mr. Charles was returning to St. Lucia, equipped with experience in the trade union movement. His experience would change his life and that of the political landscape in St. Lucia. By the time he was 30 years old, Mr. Charles was already a member of the St. Lucia Workers' Cooperative Union. In 1948, he was elected to the Castries Town Board. By 1950, he played a pivotal role in the formation of St. Lucia's first political party, the St. Lucia Labour Party. In 1951, general elections were held for the first time based on universal adult suffrage. George Charles was elected to the Legislative Council. A consistent champion of the working class, this is where he advocated for legal recognition of their right to paid leave. By 1952, he was appointed president of the Workers' Cooperative Union. In 1954, he was re-elected to the Legislative Council. By 1956, under partial introduction of the ministerial system, he was appointed First Minister of Education and Social Affairs, after the SLP had defeated the People's Progressive Party for a second time. Upon appointment of full ministerial government in 1960, he became St. Lucia's first Chief Minister. Post-1974, he was head of the Agricultural and Workers' Trade Union, continuing in that role to contribute towards improved rights and conditions for the St. Lucian working class. Mr. George was committed to the people he served. He was a member of the Labour Advisory Board, the Labour Welfare Committee, Central Housing and Planning Authority, the Price Control Board, and the St. Lucia Volunteer Force. He was a member of the Council of International Confederation of Free Trade Unions and represented the West Indies on the Administrative Committee of the Caribbean Area Division. In June 1998, Mr. Charles was awarded the KCMG, Knight Commander of the Most Distinguished Order of St. Michael and St. George, for his contribution to politics in St. Lucia. Sir George F.L. Charles departed this life in June of 2004. A Castries secondary school and the Castries Airport bear his name. A man who dedicated his life to the pursuit of bread, freedom and justice for St. Lucians. Well, that's all we have time for today. Join us next time for another in the series of Sons and Daughters of St. Lucia, a program designed to highlight various aspects of the lives of people who assisted in the development of our island, St. Lucia.